bleeding population, we've been bleeding opportunity, and I'm really shocked that J.B. Pritzker is a population denier.
That is State Representative Chris Miller yesterday responding to Governor J.B. Pritzker, who yesterday was asked about the continued population decline in the state of Illinois after new census data comes out and says that Chicago continues to lose people. Again, welcome back to Bishop on Air. I'm Greg Bishop. Thanks for hanging out. And be sure to check out thecentersquare.com where you can see the article Katrina Peterson put together. Legislator calls Pritzker a population denier after data shows Chicago loses more. And we reported on this earlier in the week about the U.S. Census putting out data that essentially says that, there's a lot of large cities in the country, in certain parts of the country, where they're losing population. And Chicago's one of them. And actually, if you look at the data, a lot of Illinois cities are losing population from Springfield to Chicago. But Governor J.B. Pritzker asked about this yesterday in Springfield. The Center Square's Katrina Peterson asking the question of, why do you think population continues to decline, and what are you going to do to reverse that trend?
So to disabuse you and many others of a misimpression, there is, as you know, every 10 years a census that gets done. That's where people's doors get knocked on. People are filling out forms, right? And every 10 years we literally count every single person in the state. And then in every year between those 10-year periods, 2010, 2020, 2030, between those years, there's something that's relatively new in the census world called the American Community Survey. And it's more like a poll. It's more sophisticated than a poll, but it's a poll that tries to determine what the changes are year to year in population. That poll has been inaccurate for the state of Illinois for more than 10 years. How do I know this? Because they've been doing this poll during the 2010s, from 2010 to 2020, and I saw the poll data, that information, every year. And when I was running even, I said, oh my goodness, if we're really losing that kind of population, it's an emergency. It's something we need to, get on, jump on. What populations are we losing? How do we keep them in the state of Illinois? How do we attract others, and so on? It turns out when we actually counted people in 2020, we weren't losing hundreds of thousands of people. That was false. We counted every person, so you know that the accuracy is there. Now the question is, okay, well, if the ACS data is wrong every year and the actual count is right, and that is true, then, and by the way, in addition to the number that we originally counted, it turns out they do something called a post-enumeration survey, which basically checks the work. And the post-enumeration survey determined actually Illinois got undercounted. Even though we try to count every single person, some people are homeless and don't get counted. Some people are just hidden and hard to get to, and they didn't get counted. So what did they determine from that? Illinois gained population. We have more than 13 million people in the state of Illinois. Well, then 2021 came, and here came another ACS survey, and it showed another year of population loss reported by this survey that had been inaccurate for the 10 years earlier. That survey hasn't changed. So we've gone to the Census Bureau and told them how inaccurate this clearly is. And they believed us, and they went around and looked at the cities in the state that applied. We had a group of cities who kind of went to the Census Bureau and said, this is wrong, we're seeing more people than you are. And what did they do? They upped the numbers, the population numbers for each of those cities that were part of that application. So it's clear there's something wrong with the ACS data, and I know you guys keep reporting that we're losing population based upon that inaccurate data, but you should take what I'm saying as truth, that actually when we count people, it turns out we're gaining population.
So, again, the governor seems to just downplay the question and say that the federal government's estimates are woefully inaccurate. He said that there's more than 13 million people in Illinois. But you look at the U.S. Census page for Illinois, it only says we've got 12.8 million. We lost a seat in Congress. We've lost many seats in Congress over the past 25 years. The annual estimates, a decade of decline, and we continue to lose population according to the census, even after the census did come back and say, okay, there may have been an undercount of X tens of thousands of people, but we still, even with that undercount adjustment, lost population. So interesting to again, as these numbers continue to come out, they're being reported on. And it's not just the Center Square reporting on it. I mean, the Chicago Tribune reporting on it as well. But the response from State Representative Chris Miller, something else that Katrina Peterson got yesterday at the Illinois State House.
Bleeding population, we've been bleeding opportunity, and I'm really shocked that J.B. Pritzker is a population denier. One of the biggest drivers for people leaving the state is overtaxation, overregulation, the tyranny of what they've done with the individual tax, business tax, real estate tax, when people are fleeing because of that, plus out of control inflation here, not only here, but everywhere right now because of the Biden-Pritzker policies. And so there's a lot of easy answers to these problems, but the first thing that you have to do is to admit that you have a problem and admit that your policies have created this mess.
So we'll continue to update population estimates as the U.S. Census puts those out, showing that Illinois continues to lose population. It's not just Illinois, it's other blue states continue to lose population to red states. I don't know if it's the weather that's causing that to happen. So there you go. Back and forth between a couple of elected officials on the issue of population here in the state of Illinois. It is Bishop on Air. Thanks for hanging out. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and join us each and every weekday morning. Happy Friday. We'll talk with you soon with more Bishop on Air.